Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC, and here's your co-host, Scott. Hello, pal. You enjoy that last night?
Pretty good, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you very much. Nervy times last night, though, wasn't it?
It's tough, wasn't it?
It was. But look, 3 points is the main thing. We just had to come out of it with 3 points, and we did.
Yep.
Anyway, on today's show, we look back on that hard-fought win for Manchester United at Selhurst Park, assess United's top 4 chances, preview the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea, and round up the other United stories making the headlines. As we said, Scott, it was hard fought at Selhurst Park, but we got the job done in the end. A few contentious calls. Look, we got there in the end, didn't we?
Squeaky bum time, isn't it? We might not be going for titles at the moment, but it still is squeaky bum time, as Fergie used to say.
It is indeed. Look, we made a couple of changes, and we saw, unbelievably, your old favourite, Timothy Fosu-Mensah, returning after over 3 years since he last appeared for the club. Were you surprised, mate?
Couldn't believe my eyes. I thought it was one of my Football Manager lineups. I really did.
Squeezing him in at left back.
inverted wing back. Have a go.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. He actually did, as he said, make his debut, didn't he, at left back against Arsenal when he came on. But it is obviously not his main position. It's a necessity. Obviously, Shaw and Brandon Williams didn't make it. The other change was Scott McTominay came in for Nemanja Matic in midfield. And we did really miss Nemanja, really, didn't we?
We did. But I think McTominay did a pretty good job. I just don't think at 33, 34, whatever Matic is, he can't be playing 2 games a week, 90 minutes each. Yeah.
You know what? I think McTominay is a fantastic player. He does do a good job. He's just not that player, is he? You know, Matic is that perfect type where he will just sit. He doesn't want to bomb forward, whereas McTominay almost has to sort of control himself from his natural desire to close people down and pour forward and join in the attacking moves, when actually that job is just sit there and let Pogba and Bruno run free.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a calm role than McTominay is used to. But I think Matic and McTominay bring positive and negative aspects to that role. I think Matic's calmness on the ball and him picking out the right passes is maybe a bit different to McTominay.
Yeah.
And his eagerness to get the ball moving and to get it and move it as quickly as possible. You know, I think that those are 2 different characteristics that they have that it makes that role a bit different, right?
It does. Look, at the moment, I think with so few games to go, obviously we want to get the most out of our most creative players. But you're right, Matic, his form has suffered when he's played a lot of games. It's almost dropped off a cliff. So I think it was wise, and we got away with it, didn't we? That's the main thing. We got the job done. We rested a couple of players. We managed to bring a couple of subs on and refresh the team a little bit because we've got 3 games coming in a week, really, haven't we?
Yeah, I think in most other teams that they play a defensive midfielder, they've always usually got 2 holding midfielders. And I think that in these tactics we're trying to play now, if anything, the defensive midfielder has to do a bit more work than a regular defensive midfielder because Pogba's given a bit more license to go forward. So it is a really difficult position for us to, in our team, to fill, right? So it's not an easy position to even just come in and Matic is playing so well the last couple of months that I thought McTominay actually did pretty well.
Yeah, and like you say, it's a specialist position, isn't it? It's not like you can just chuck a couple of midfielders there and say, look, share the defensive duties. It really is specialist. You got 2 players. I mean, Pogba, I know some people say he's playing as a double pivot. I'm not buying that at all. He's really not. He's much further forward than he was ever before when he was playing in that double pivot. So, yeah, it is a specialist position. And we got the job done. That's the main thing. And we kept a clean sheet. So,
yeah. And honestly, I just want to go, a bit more about Fosu-Mensah in the lineup. I think it was a really big call from Solskjaer, right? He could have played Delo back there. But he's probably stayed true to what he's seen in training. Fosu-Mensah's apparently been playing well in training the last few months. And he knows Palace tactics in and inside and out, knows the ground as well.
Yeah.
And has probably played against Townsend and Zaha a lot. And it was a big call. And I think he did really well too.
He did. Look, obviously playing a right back at left back and someone who hasn't played for the club for 3 years, there's going to be a few things that don't look quite right. But I think you're right. We kept a clean sheet. Although we conceded a few chances, we weren't ever sort of overrun. It wasn't as if they were. I mean, the danger really came from the other side in Zaha, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did.
Realistically. And look, we didn't start too sharply. David De Gea had to save from Zaha after a couple of minutes. Harry Maguire had a header after about 12. But there really wasn't too much going on before the drink break, was there? We were laboured. It's similar actually to a couple of the games we've seen in the past few weeks, Bournemouth, Southampton, where we haven't really come out the traps properly. I guess, look, we're getting spoiled, aren't we? We're used to coming out the traps flying, getting it done, and then, just sort of playing around for the rest of the game. It's not going to be like that forever, no matter how good a team you are.
No, but I was trying to think the last time we scored a goal in the first 5 minutes or first 10 minutes of a game, it was probably Sheffield United, right?
Yeah, you might well be right, yeah.
Was it? One aspect Fergie always had with his teams was they came running out the traps, and I wish we offered a bit more in the first quarter of the games now.
Well, I think, yeah, Fergie certainly did. But the other thing he did was when we went to a sort of more difficult stadium, he would try and suck the life out of the crowd in the first 10, 20 minutes, keep the ball and sort of silence the crowd. But at the moment, that's bloody useless, isn't it?
Yeah. Ollie did that before kickoff, so...
He was up in the stand with his iPad again. What do you think of that, mate?
I don't know.
Bit casual?
It is a bit casual, isn't it? It looks good when the job gets done, but when you can see the 94th minute equaliser, it looks pretty shoddy.
It does.
Yeah.
But look, again, it's the same old thing, isn't it? The United manager getting that massive magnifying glass over everything he does, rather than, other managers. They don't even get the camera on them, so you don't even know they're doing it.
He is one of the only managers that's actually sitting in the stands, though, right?
I think so, at the moment.
Is that to get a good vantage point? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's perfect, isn't it? He's got it on the screen.
He's watching what we're watching.
You know what? I mean, I know in the US, the coaches have spotters, don't they?
Yeah.
They have people dotted around different areas of the stadium, right up high, to sort of spot patterns of play. And, that might be something that football could learn from. But at the same time, I think, look, I don't think your vantage point is too much better because he's not high enough up. If he's right at the top of the stand, then I would get it. But if you're just a few rows up, then it doesn't make much of a difference at all, does it really?
That would be a bit much if he's just sitting in the middle of the North Stand, right, halfway up the top, you know what I mean?
Cappuccino.
He's got his champs cola and his steak and kidney pie. Yeah, I think yesterday maybe he just didn't want to sit in those dingy Palace dugouts.
Maybe if you saw Moisey up there, Moisey might give him a what's it.
I'll tell you what, that would be the best thing ever. They'd have to get one of those long poles to hand it to get social distancing right? He'd still take one, but refuse the second.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about the time when Moisey got sent off, did he? When he was over in Spain?
No, I think he just got the Sociedad manager job, right? So he was watching from the stands for the first game, and everyone was excited to have him there, and they were offering him sweets and chocolates. And,
band chips, and then he's blooming scoffing his face in the stand. Unbelievable.
He couldn't say no to a what's it, but he did say no to the second one. You got to watch it; it's the best.
And look, we had a couple of chances around the 30th minute. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and then Mason Greenwood uncharacteristically skewed wide. Not the greatest game from Mason. And like we've said, actually, having that front three who were all bona fide strikers means that when someone goes off the ball for 2 or 3 games, it's all right. The other two will pick up the slack. Yeah. And this is exactly what's happened, right? Rashford, the start of the break, wasn't banging them in. He was contributing. And now he's banging them in. Mason's having a little bit of a few days off. And everything's rosy.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe the finish from Greenwood in the 30th minute or so. But
yeah,
the thing I couldn't believe was Martial's close control. That was outrageous. To be able to manufacture a chance out of that was outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Martial is threatening to absolutely explode, isn't he? Some of the stuff he's doing is just his level is just going up and up and up. His general work rate, his close control, like you say, is off the chain. And he's just on the verge of becoming the player we always thought he would.
Yeah, he's teetering on world class now, isn't he? Is he almost?
Yeah, it's getting pretty tasty.
I think you've got to say he's the best dribbler in the squad. I think Rashford can go faster than him, but nothing like the close control that Martial has.
What I love is that Martial and Rashford now have bagged 22 each this season. And it doesn't seem like they've reached anywhere near the sort of top of what they could be delivering. This seems like, good season, but you kind of think that for those two, they've got another sort of 10, 15 goals in them a season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, this partnership is so much like York and Cole, the way they play for each other. Yeah. And they're so unselfish and they get on so well with each other and they're almost happy for each other to score as they are for themselves.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. They're very, very selfless. There really is that kind of. They've actually both of them have stopped shooting so much, haven't they, from range, and they definitely seem to have a joy in setting the other one up.
Yeah, and long may it continue.
Look, Wan-Bissaka was booked in the 36th, 39th. Harry Maguire headed wide from a corner kick. He was having Saka for breakfast, wasn't he?
He's got to score some of these, though, mate. Come on.
He really does. Bruno's putting it on the button.
He's not ruthless enough.
Yeah.
The first one that just hit him in the face because he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was poor.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. With him getting his head to so many of them, it is almost like hoping one will go in rather than really taking control of the situation. We've been begging for a corner taker. We finally got one. He's got to start banging some in, surely.
Yeah, and I think Bruno had an off night as well, you got to say, with his corners. I mean, I think 4 or 5 of them didn't pass the first man.
He did. Look, he's been playing all these minutes. One thing
I know. I'm not digging him out either. I'm not digging him out.
And one thing with Bruno is he keeps on pushing the game. And as we'll mention in a minute, it paid off in the end. David De Gea to save again from Jordan Ayew. He had a good game, to be fair, David De Gea, didn't he?
He did. He was called into action when he was, and he dispatched a few really good saves. And I don't think he touched the ball for about 25 minutes in the second half at one point. So it was good concentration.
Yeah. Look, Bruno had a couple of shots just before half-time. One blocked, one just wide. And then we had a big talking point. Wilfried Zaha went down in the box under a challenge from Victor Lindelof. What do you reckon, mate?
I think it was a penalty.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
On the grounds that it's from behind and you can't really tackle, you can't kick the ball between someone's legs and then kick the back of their legs.
Yeah, I think it was a penalty. I think if it was for us, I have to say it probably would have been given the previous penalties we've been given. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Look, the reason why that rule's in place is because otherwise you'd get all kinds of people just coming through the back of other players, smashing the ball and smashing up the back of their legs, which just wouldn't be acceptable. And yeah, you can't. It's just it's one of those things that is just sort of taken for granted that it's not allowed, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't quite a 50-50, was it? It was more like a 60-40. But
no.
I think if they went to VAR, they would have given a penalty as well. I couldn't believe they didn't do that.
Yeah, well, look, they've been saying that some people are linking the same challenge, Martial, when he was brought down in the box. I to be honest with you, I thought that was definitely not a penalty. Mm-hmm. The Martial one, he got the ball first, didn't he? It was from the side. It's very different. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I've got to say, I thought it was a pen, but I was happy for it not to be. And then just a couple of minutes later, or less than, Bruno sublime on the edge of the box, giving and going into Rashford, drove into the box, almost Shevchenko-like, wasn't it? The way he stopped the ball and just side-footed it in the other corner. Yeah,
just unbelievable. And it came from the swapping wings again. Mason was on the left, Marcus down the right, and just beautiful passing to get into there. Just a really swift move from 50, 60 yards. Good patience as well to get in the right position, right? Not just, I think Bruno had a shot out of frustration a few minutes earlier because we'd got into a good position, but sort of let the chance go. And it was so relieving. But I thought it was actually, I didn't think that the ball had gone out of play since the penalty or whatever. So I thought it might have been, I was worried it was still going to get called back.
Look, one thing I love about this United team is no matter how sort of sloppy we are, even if we're playing sort of, not at a great tempo, when it gets in the final third, we can still turn it up, can't we? Like when it gets in that final third, those guys up there, the movement, the pace, and then before you know it, it kind of breaks the opposition's hearts because they feel like they're in sort of some semblance of control, and then we just do that to them.
Yeah, there's a lot more attacking control now, isn't there? A bit more patience.
Yeah.
I thought, to be honest with you, of the possession stats came out at half-time. I think we had 59% or something like that. And a lot of it was just side-to-side, non-threatening passing through the midfield. And it was just nice to see as soon as we did get the opening, we managed to carve something out, a nice patient. It wasn't just a long ball. It wasn't just a lucky bounce or this and that. It was actually a well-carved-out goal.
Yeah. Do you get the feeling Bruno might be running a little bit on empty at the moment and he's just using his passion to get through? He is a little bit more sort of sloppy on the ball. He's trying everything. Still using all his tools, but it's just a little bit less refined than it was before.
Yeah, 100%. I think Stevie Wonder could see that, but yeah, I think it's
obviously a great point from me then.
Yeah, it really is. It is. But I think it comes sort of same with saying Matic, that they're playing 2 games every week. I mean, and he played 120 minutes against Norwich a few weeks ago. I think most of them are running on empty, to be honest with you, TC.
Yeah, and it's a tricky one, isn't it? Look, we've got 3 games now before, well, possibly 4 if we get to the FA Cup final as well, and then we got a little break before the Europa League. We can obviously rest people for that first last game as well, and you almost just want the boys to just, like Bruno's doing, passion through, but you do run the risk of tripping up on the way, I suppose.
I mean, against a better team, we wouldn't have won last night.
Yeah,
yeah. I think they missed a few gilt-edged chances that against a better team we would have been 2-0 down at half time.
Yeah, look, they did have a chance just before half time. Milivojevic, I've been practicing that all day.
Nice.
Saved David De Gea, thwarting him in the top corner fantastically. It wasn't the hardest hit free kick, but many keepers would just be rooted to the spot watching that going in.
No, yeah, it was a fantastic save, a perfectly placed free kick. But I think he's bucked up his ideas a bit the last few weeks, De Gea, and playing a bit better.
Yeah, look, it was delightful getting that goal before half time. Really settled the nerves, but we didn't want it to stay 1-0 too long. And just 10 minutes into the second half, I beg your pardon, Wilfried Zaha pulled wide, and then just a little while later, pulled across the goal. And there was Ayew to tuck it home. From first view, Scott, I thought it was offside. Mm-hmm. I must have brilliant eyes. VAR came into play. It was very, very marginal, wasn't it, pal?
It was tight. But where was Fosu Mensah over there? He was completely lost.
Yeah,
we had no left back whatsoever.
Yeah,
and it was the one time in the game that he was found wanting, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of the blooming media? The headlines today are United, fans up in arms about disallowed goal. I mean, it was an offside. It was an offside call, and he was obviously offside.
Yeah, I mean, these aren't United fans writing the articles, right? But no. It was weird. I didn't see any fans complaining about it.
Yeah,
in the ground.
Yeah, it's the bloody media complaining, isn't it? In the ground.
Yeah. And usually the Palace fans are pretty vocal, right? But they took it. They took it well.
They were still singing that bloody song all game, weren't they?
I can't stand it, mate. Ugh.
Look, we had one the other week, didn't we, against Bournemouth, where Rashford, I mean, they drew the lines and it looked like Rashford was actually on in that one. No one mentioned anything about that. On the BT coverage, they went on all of the aftermatch stuff was about the penalty incident and that VAR goal, and they were saying, "Oh, it's so marginal," and they were bringing up what we talked about right at the start of the season, mate. The frames per second, the 50 frames per second, and the way it is not obviously certainly offside if you don't know exactly when the ball's leaving the guy's foot. How do they get around that? Because if you start saying we've got so-and-so centimetres margin for error, then you've still got the margin for error on that boundary as well, haven't you?
I don't know. When it works in your favour and you see them doing the lines and everything and plotting the dots, it looks great. It looks like they've got everything sorted.
Yeah.
I thought it was a goal. Because I actually thought that Maguire was playing him onside with his shoulder or what have you.
Yeah.
And then they pulled, they started putting the lines down and I was like, oh no, this looks pretty good here. I don't think they need to change anything. Well, I like it.
Well, the other thing that the headlines are running today is that we've had 7 goals overturned due to VAR, as if it's some kind of thing. If anything, that says to me that before, the refs were doing us under the pressure of the blooming fans, and of course the fact that it's United, and now they're not being able to because they're going up to VAR and they're overturning them.
They just write these articles because they know that the general public hate United as well, and they'll be up in arms too. I mean, if they actually go back and review these 7 decisions, are any of them wrong?
Well, exactly.
So, what's the point?
Exactly, and you can go and we can go to the Sheffield United goal where the guy handballed it, McGurney, wasn't it?
Yeah,
handballed it before he scored, and then we look at the Bailly penalty that got given against us. I mean, the ball hit him further up the arm than it hit blooming McGurney.
I don't care with it. I really don't. And that goal, we got away with murder. We were so slow. We completely switched off, and we had our pants around our ankles before we even knew our belt was off. It was crazy.
Well, one thing I do like about this sort of narrative in the press is that it shows we're putting the willies up some people, because obviously before we were getting laughed at from all angles, weren't we? And if now they're moaning about how we're getting all these victories, 19 unbeaten now, then I think that's a good sign, if anything.
100%. If they hate us, then we're back, right?
Yeah. Look, Paul Brad had an effort just after. There was a volley from McCarthy, which David De Gea got down really well, held it nicely. Rashford had a chance just after, and then we made the subs. Nemanja Matic coming on for Scott McTominay, and Jesse Lingard on for Mason Greenwood. Good changes, good time from Ollie this time.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised to see Lingard. I would have expected to see Dan James play before him, but he actually came on and was good. It was the kind of game that was good for him, right? Just to buzz around. And to be honest, it was the same sort of feeling I had as the Southampton game. I was like, Rashford just missed a chance. He's got to be more clinical. And this is the kind of stuff that was costing us, right? This cost us 2 points against Southampton. Mm-hmm. And I was worried that we weren't going to get the second goal to kill off the game.
I felt the same, mate. And even more so just a few minutes later. Maguire got booked for nothing much really in the middle of the park. Bruno then had a left foot shot just wide, and then he hit the post when for all the world, you thought he'd be burying it. He really went for that one. It was blooming unlucky, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just side foot that in, right? But I mean, I
think the cross took a slight deflection on the way through, and I think he just had to manipulate his body a little bit and hit it like that rather than doing what he was going to do, probably, and side foot it through.
Yeah, I mean, if we had drawn the game, dropped any points, we would have looked at that as a huge chance.
At the time, Scott, I was thinking, oh God, it's not going to be. We're not going to go into the last 5 minutes at 1-0 again, are we?
No.
And let them sort of play on our mental weakness carried over from Monday. Luckily enough, just a few minutes later, lovely play. Bruno threaded out to Bruno through the legs to Rashford. Rashford, lovely little touch into Anthony Martial. Martial, superb strength, and just tucked it in. That was Anthony Martial 101, wasn't it?
It really was. And Bruno 101, right? Fashioning a chance out of absolutely nothing. What a relief. What an unbelievable relief that was.
It was. And did you see Martial saying that, remember back in the summer, you said that maybe Martial would get given his number 9 shirt back, and he did get given it back. And did you see Ollie said, you prove that you deserve it?
Yeah, but I don't understand you giving someone something and then telling you to prove it. You know what I mean? If anything you say this year, prove me you're number 9, you get it back for next season. You don't give someone a sweet and then say, okay, show me you deserve it when you've already given it to them.
I've had it now.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense. More Solskjaer's philosophies.
I do know what you mean, mate. When I was reading the article, I was thinking, but he did give him it. He did give him the shirt, and then I was like, oh right, I get it. Okay, show me you're worth wearing it. I guess he should have said.
Yeah.
But he has, hasn't he? He has grown. And
do you think he's not giving Diogo Dalot a game because he's still got his number 20 on? He's stolen his number 20 like Van Persie did.
Remember, Ollie did say that's my shirt, didn't he?
Yeah, when Van Persie was saying something about it, he said,
I gave you my shirt.
He got the number 20, that's the only thing he'll get from me, or something like that. I wonder if he's giving Dalot the needle because he's wearing his number 20. Show me you deserve the number 20. He's like, I don't even want it. I don't even want it.
Give me 21. Look, Bruno had a shot saved just before the 90th. We had a load of injury time, didn't we? 11 minutes with Van Arnhem going down. It looked like he'd smashed his shoulder out, but apparently he is.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
Apparently he is.
Yeah.
Dave saved again from Wilfried Zaha, and then we had chances. We had Rashford, Maguire, and then Bruno tried to trick everyone and just pull a free kick into the near post, just wide, kind of sort of summed up his game a little bit. Loads of effort, loads of invention, but not quite on the ball. But 2-0, mate, 3 points, kept the goal difference the same with Leicester.
Yeah, that Martial dribble on the 97th minute when everyone's we're sitting here saying that everyone should be out of puff. I mean, he's outrageous. His dribbling skills and his confidence is just going higher and higher and higher.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? He does look genuinely like a changed man.
Yeah, absolutely. Compared to what he was a year ago. I mean, and you remember when Mourinho was at the club and he was almost at the exit door when he left the training. He left pre-season training to be for the birth of his son, right?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was going to get sold that year.
Yeah,
I really did.
Apparently Mourinho was pushing for it, and
of course he was.
The board blocked it. So fair play to the to the board on that one, really.
Yeah, and thanks to Louis van Gaal for taking a chance. You know, it's still the gift that the Louis gave us.
Yeah. It is indeed.
Yeah.
Look, 41% for them, 59% possession for us, 17 shots to 13 our favour. Both teams had 5 on target. Wasn't total domination from us by any stretch of the imagination. 7 corners to 2. We've got to start doing better with them. 15 fouls to 10. Again, getting some reducers in. You got a man of the match for me. I forgot to ask you on Monday, didn't I?
Of course I do, yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
Marcus Rashford is my man of the match. Wait, for what game? For the last game?
For this one first. Go on.
For this one, we got Marcus Rashford as the man of the match.
Yeah.
With the big bottle, and the little bottle's going to go to Timothy Fosu-Mensah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought he came in, and for a must-win game away from home against a team who were desperate to win as well. I think he, and against one of the trickiest wingers in the league in Andros Townsend. I think he did really well. He was absolutely on the missing list for their disallowed goal, but I'll give him that. I thought he was great.
You're worried you're never going to get another chance to do it, aren't you?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I could have guessed he'd get one of your bottles.
Yeah, he signed an extension to his contract, right? He's not going to break my heart like Angel Gomez.
No, I would go. I would agree with Rashford. I'll probably give the little bottle to David De Gea.
Okay.
I thought it was a commanding performance from him. The one low down, I think it was with his foot, was superb, and yeah, he was just solid. And it was the kind of game where we had to keep a clean sheet because it wasn't a knife edge. So fair play to Dave. What about the Southampton game? Sorry to go back, everyone. I forgot to ask it on Monday. I was so blooming annoyed about dropping points, and I still am, actually, to be honest with you.
Well,
I still can't shake that off. Every time I look at the blooming table.
My Southampton notes, there's 3/4 of a page with some nice notes, and then there's just one word at the bottom underlined that says bollocks. The whole game. Sorry about that. Hopefully that's not a bad word, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know who might. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's
a body part.
It's not. I don't know who my man of the match was for that. Maybe Rashford scored again, but I don't know. I'd probably say Marcus Rashford again.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay.
Did you have a man of the match that game? Or you just stitching me out?
The Southampton game.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just stitching you up, mate.
Yeah, thought so.
Blooming hell, I've tried to forget about that one.
Yeah, me too. But you just maybe go back in my notes and remember the bollocks.
Glenn Hoddle gave Bruno the man of the match yesterday.
Did he really?
Absolutely loving him. Yeah, absolutely loving him. Couldn't get enough. Marcus Rashford went up for the interview, and then at the end he was kind of like putting his hand out ready, and they were like, "Yeah, off you go."
Unbelievable. Yeah, he didn't get an assist, didn't he? He didn't get an assist this game. First game he hasn't got an assist in. Or it's actually the first away game he hasn't scored.
Bruno? No, Bruno got the assist for the first one, mate.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, token.
Threaded it through to
Standard assist, mate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly, the output of that guy is... I was watching him at time just thinking we're so lucky to have him.
Yeah.
The way he drifts around the park, the way he just... Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's like half support striker. Well, a third support striker, a third number 10, and a third number 8. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
I don't know how he does
Absolutely
it.
Incredible stuff.
He does need a bit of a break, though. I don't know if we can rest him on Wednesday or Thursday, but against West Ham. But we need him against Leicester. We need him on top draw.
We do. Should we get to the top 4 race?
Absolutely.
Look, we sit 1 point behind Chelsea. We sit level on points with Leicester. And goal difference wise, we're 3 behind Leicester. And we've got the goal difference on Chelsea. So, look, mate, if we'd won that Southampton game, we would be sitting pretty here. But let's not look back, let's look forward. We play West Ham on the Wednesday, and then we play Leicester last day of the season on the Sunday. Chelsea play Liverpool midweek after the semi-final against us, and then they play Wolves on the Sunday. Leicester play Spurs this Sunday, and then they've got a 7-day rest compared to our 4 before their game against us on Sunday. There is plenty of potential for those two to slip up, isn't there, in these next games for them? Yeah,
I would definitely say so. And I think Leicester to go to Spurs and get a result is much more difficult than it sounds. Yeah. Especially, I think Spurs have maybe turned a corner. Mourinho wants to prove some people right.
Yep.
I don't know if they could just draw. And also Chelsea, right? Chelsea got to go to Liverpool. Liverpool just lost against Arsenal, something no one likes to do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And also let's remember, look, Liverpool have been blooming on the beach, haven't they? They haven't been turning up at all. But that is the game where they're going to receive the trophy.
Exactly, and they're not going to want to lose that, are they?
They're really not. And I can, if I was ever glad of a bit of timing, I'm glad of that, because it just means that they might be a little bit more honest in that game. I agree, mate. I would. What I'd like is us to be able to go into the Leicester game knowing we can draw or win it. That'd be fantastic. But as it is, we know full well if we beat West Ham and we beat Leicester, we qualify. Doesn't matter what happens with Chelsea. If we win our next 2 games, we've done it.
It was a shame. I think that there were maybe a couple more goals out there last night that could have brought down the goal difference.
Yeah.
But if there's one person I'd like to stick 6 goals past, it's David Moyes. So if we could beat West Ham 6-0, then all we need is a draw against Leicester and we'd be fine.
You know what, mate? In terms of the goals, it doesn't really matter because if Leicester drew to Spurs, then they'd be 1 point ahead of us anyway.
Yeah, they'd be 1 point ahead and 3 goals ahead.
Yeah, so it's not going to be... We wouldn't be able to tie that up with a draw because the only way we get 1 point is by drawing with Leicester.
Well, regardless of Leicester's result at Spurs or our result at West Ham, we will go into that game against each other not being more than 3 points apart from each other. So it's definitely a vital game now.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that Chelsea are the one that are going to slip up.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win at Liverpool.
Yeah. And you're right. If Leicester do beat Spurs, we beat West Ham, but we'd have to overturn the goal difference before we played Leicester because the draw would be the only time when it would come into play.
Well, that's what I mean. If we stuck 6 past West Ham,
yeah,
and see Moisey's face as well, because he is... has anyone told Moisey that the Barbers are back in action? those Goldilocks, all those grey locks.
Oh, total mess, isn't he?
Oh, I love him.
Absolute
Now he's miles away. I love him.
So tell me, mate, it's a tight one. You think we're going to make it?
Yeah, I do. Of course, I do. I'm not gonna burn myself and say we're going to come third because that I think going one further is the thing that's making my predictions fail. So I'm just going to say we're going to come fourth.
Just say we're going to qualify, and then you cover both bases.
Yeah, well, that's it. And also, if we win the Europa League, then we could qualify for the Champions League as well, right? If emergency happens.
We don't want to be waiting for that, pal.
No, of course not.
Look, we got FA Cup semi-final on Sunday against Chelsea. Big old empty Wembley. You expect to see some changes and rest some people for West Ham. How do you think Ollie's going to play it?
I actually don't. I think he's going to play pretty similar. I think Matic didn't start last night because he's going to start that game.
Yeah.
I would be shocked to see a different team.
Do you think we maybe will see Mason Greenwood start on the bench? Maybe Danny James? He's caused Chelsea a few problems in the past.
Perhaps you never know. But I mean, if that was the case, then why would he bring him off like the other night, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't playing great, was he?
Well,
I mean, he wasn't playing great. But if you were going to play Danny James on Sunday, then you would, in fairness, probably give him a few minutes instead of bringing on Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, I think Mason's going to start, and I think it's going to be his first game playing at Wembley, right?
Possibly in the seniors, he might have played schoolboy level at Wembley.
Oh yeah,
one of the games.
England schoolboys, yeah.
Yeah. What about between the sticks? Do you think he'll stick with Dave or give Sergio a go? Sergio Romero.
I think after last night, you got to stick with Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep the momentum, keep the faith. He looked pretty happy with Dave after.
Yeah, hopefully Brandon or Luke Shaw is going to be back on the left.
Yeah. Look, it seems like Shaw's got a chance, and Brandon, you'd think it was only a cut, wasn't it? I don't know if there's any concussion protocol that's been stamped on him, but with a cut, you can kind of tape it up and carry on, can't you?
Yeah, but I think there was probably a bit of concussion. He got his bell rung.
It was a big old smash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was all over the shop. Yeah. Confident for Wembley?
I have to be, right?
Always.
It's tough though. We've beaten Chelsea 3 times this season already, pretty convincingly for 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think maybe Lampard's going to be a bit furious with that. They've had a couple days extra to prepare for it, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, this is such a huge week, such a huge 8 days. I can't expect us to do anything but win. And
you can't see us changing the shape?
Oh, no
like
chance.
He has done.
I don't think so.
No, you think he'll stick with a 4-3-3?
Yeah, I think he had a big chance to bring on Bailly last night when Maguire went down with a head injury as well.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do it. So I think he's got much more faith in this back four than he did before.
Yeah, I think Ollie was right after the game when he said we defended bravely. I don't think we necessarily defended particularly well, but we did defend bravely. We defended like we had something really on the line, which I thought was a good positive out of last night as well.
Yeah, but I think against a better team or against a Crystal Palace who had anything to play for, it would have been a different result last night. It was a bit of a let-off.
Yeah. Look, great news for you, mate. They've announced that next week, day after the end of the season, the transfer window will open, and it will stay open till October the 5th. You must have been blooming jumping around the room, mate.
We're already doing business, aren't we? Yeah. We signed a 17-year-old left back from the Real Madrid academy yesterday, Alvaro Carreras.
And we had a Barcelona guy a few weeks ago as well from the academy, didn't we?
Yeah. Solskjaer's doing his business early. I like it.
Yes.
Can you imagine if Jadon Sancho gets announced on July the 27th or July the 28th? It's like a week away.
We can't play in the Europa League, though, can we?
Can I ask you? No, we couldn't. But can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
With all the other clubs showing off their new kits for next season, why are we still playing last night in that god awful snakeskin?
God, honestly, that snakeskin is just one of the worst of the worst.
It's horrific.
You know what? Actually, I don't know whether it's an agreement with the club. It's something I like that we do. Bayern Munich have always done it. They've always rolled out their next season's kit. The last few games of the season, Chelsea started doing it. It was a kind of an Adidas thing. It's not something we've done, Scott. It's not something that we've ever done. Right. Is pull out next season's kit early. So I'm actually pretty happy that we haven't got into that habit. If we're ever going to do it, it would be this season to do it.
Yeah, the Europa League, we might see a cheeky number,
possibly. But you want to see the Dazzle camo instead, do you?
Did you know what? I just realised that would have been the alternative, right? We would have been out there looking like bloody zebras.
I think so, pal. Look, Jude Bellingham has been over to Dortmund, and looks like that is going to happen.
Go on.
Look, that's not a biggie. Our midfield's looking pretty solid, and it was always looking, for the last few weeks anyway, that Dortmund were leading the race. Real Madrid have come out and said they've got no money to spend at all, and it's blooming absolute disaster. And the way that it's moving, it is looking good for us to really take advantage of this summer, isn't it?
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, if Pogba signs a new contract and we get Jadon Sancho, then we're in business.
We're in a load of business, mate. Yeah. I mean, really load of business. And other good news, Inter Milan are apparently interested in keeping Sanchez on again. There's apparently going to be, we haven't agreed yet for him to stay for the Europa League. So apparently we're going to give Inter the opportunity, but there's going to be a penalty fee inserted so that if they play against us, they have to give us a big old bag of bunts for Sanchez to play, which I think is quite nice. And also, we're going to put pressure on them to take him permanently as part of the deal as well, which I think is fantastic work.
Yeah.
You know what, though, Scott? We think Sanchez is bad. You see the state of Gareth Bale and his antics in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You've seen him blooming napping in the stand with his mask over his face.
Yeah.
Pretending to blooming look in binoculars, trying to trip people up when they were celebrating the title win last night. Do you see that?
600 grand a week he's on.
Honestly, and doing fake fist pumps as they're taking the team photos with a stupid grin on his face.
Shot to bits.
Really cheeky stuff. You know what? It's funny looking from the outside, but I was thinking if that was a United player, I'll be going absolutely spare.
I can't believe it. I can't believe they won the title.
Yeah.
Pretty surprised by that, yeah. And now, if anything, why would Pogba want to move to a club that's just won the title? It doesn't make sense,
They've got no cash anyway, pal. Look, one last thing. Apparently, Boris Johnson has said that fans may well be allowed back in stands in October as well. So more good news. The season will be a couple of months old by then, but it will be good to have them back, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, it'll be good to have them back. But as we discussed in pods gone by, that it has been a good period this for us. It has been good for Ollie. It's good for this young squad to really knit together and just have that pressure just lifted a little touch before we really go for it next season.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks for joining us again, everyone. If you're new to the pod, hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify too, if that's easier. Follow our Instagram at United100 Podcast. We'll be back after the FA Cup semi-final. Let's hope we'll be gearing up for another big FA Cup's final day. Until then, take care. Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.